Okay, we're back. We're back from finishing up these figures that we were finished up this morning, and since then we have clear coated them with gloss, and we have done the flat coat treatment brush on. So we're going to go ahead and select who's going to be on what stand. One of my favorite things to do, actually. So let's grab a couple of stands. This is a couple of Hordes stands. So these are going to be 40 by 30 millimeter stands. From Litco, of course. There's going to be 7 figures on each one of those stands. So it's going to be kind of crowded, but that's what we want. We want it to look like there's a horde of guys. And a couple of magnets. And as always, the Litco stand is, the magnet part is larger than the stand. By a very small amount, so we need to trim it up. I like to trim it up so that the stands can fit flush next to each other. So we'll just pick an edge like here and go like that. And like this. Well, I attempted to do some shopping today and was kind of unsuccessful. I was looking for something really simple and couldn't really find it because, you know, people say we live in interesting times. I think we live in annoying times. But, you know, they're just making it so you have to mail order everything. So, you know. Okay. All right, so we got this here. We're just going to take this little bit of this extra off. Because what we need to do is we need to glue these guys down, and we need to do the goop so that it can dry overnight, and tomorrow morning we could paint the basing on these 2 stands. Okay, that one's done. Oh, strange. This is actually got kind of a rough spot on the Litco stands. A little bit of a quality control issue. You know, I'm a big fan of these stands because they kind of had them when I started doing DBA in 2004. One of the vendors at one of our shows had these stands in stock. It just so happened. So I never came from other stands. I used these from the start, okay? And since then, I've noticed, I don't know if you can tell on here. Let's see if we can put some background behind it. Oh, this color, there we go. They are not completely flush. They're a little bit at an angle. A tiny little bit, and I swear that wasn't the case. Like, this one's more straight up and down than the other one. This one is a little bit more of an angle. Let's see if I can get that here. There you go. I don't know, I'm just being anal retentive. It's not like I'm not going to use it, but it's kind of, they're not as good as they used to be. So I don't want to be sponsored by anybody, so. Spencer Wright, welcome. Hello. All right, let's see some Hordes. Put some Hordes together. So we got 14 figures. And these, you know, they're on pennies just temporarily. Let's zoom out a little bit more. And we're going to divvy these up in two groups. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to put all the poses that are similar. We have multiple poses for some. So we've got two guys here in this particular pose with javelins. Let's see if we can get these on the screen. We've got three of these. We've got these guys that have like sticks. We've got three of those. And two of these, what we call the Butcher of Babylon. That's what this guy looks like. Looks like some butcher in the back. And then all four of these are individual. Okay, so we're going to set the individual guys off to the side. So it's really simple. I want to break these down into two different groups. And let's see what else you got to say before we dive deep. Who makes those stands? Litco. Litco makes these in the U.S. I'm not sure if you're in the U.S. or whatever, but I've always used them. But they're not as precise as they used to be. And I ordered these probably, I don't know, a couple of years ago, whatever. So, I don't know. Maybe they were overwhelmed on that day. Okay, so we're going to make two groups. We'll put one stand here. I need to zoom out even more than this. Let's zoom out a little bit more. There we go. This is one of the most fun things I get to do. Well, I enjoy this part. Okay, so we got two stands here. So we're going to put, there's 14 figures that I painted. Geez, I just can't seem to center this. There we go. There's 14 figures that I painted. So we're going to put them in two different groups. Okay, so there's two of this pose. So one guy goes in that group, one guy goes in that group. The guys with the stick, there's three of them. So one of them is going to have two. The other one's going to have only one. Well, you can see the color of these sarongs that they have. Let me put on my glasses so I can follow along. I think you guys can make out the color of the sarongs they're wearing. Okay, and two of them are whitish, and two of them are whitish, and one of them is yellow. So the yellow one is going to be in one group with one of the white ones, and the other white one's in there. Okay, so same thing. We got Butcher Babylon here. We're going to put one figure in there, one figure in here. Now there was three of this, so this group that there's three of, this one will have two, and this one will have one. And we have a white one and a yellow one, and then this is kind of a white one, just to kind of divvy up the poses. Now, all of these are individual, okay? So one side's going to have one, and the other one's not going to have the other. And they all have some sort of blade. Well, there's two guys with blades up in the air. So one's going to be in this group, one's going to be in that group. And then this guy's got a sickle sword. So we're going to put him over here, and we're going to put this guy over here. Now we'll take a look at the guys and make sure that there's kind of a... You've played tabletop miniatures games for 40 years, but I'm new to DBA. Going to give it a try. Okay, well, it's cool. Let's check out our videos. We have a hell of a time playing it. I don't see any issues here with any of these guys. You know, one thing I forgot I was going to add any stripes to these guys. I guess I'm not going to. Well, they're just common guys, so if anybody's not going to have fancy clothing, it's going to be these. All right, so this is the better X-Acto knife that I have. So let's get out the one that's a little crummier, because we're going to use this to pop these things off. All right, so let's work at them individually. We'll move those off to the side. And let's pop these guys off. Now, these are super glued. I super glue these guys down so I don't have an issue with them popping off when I don't want them to. And it's really not that big of a deal. You end up just sticking the blade underneath here and just wiggle it, and he pops off. Okay? And of course, we recycle the pennies. They get reused again. It's just a way for, I can rotate them in my fingers and get around all the sides. That's what I've used for years. Came from the days when I was painting 20mm figures. These were the stands for the 20mm stands. I just painted them right on the stand they were going to end up in. They were individually based on pennies. So I got used to painting figures that way. Never used popsicle sticks or anything like that. Of course, most of the time I'm painting one figure at a time, so that really works for me. I like how you tell somebody how you do it and all of a sudden they want to convert you to how you play. Hey, if you're happy with how you paint, by all means stay on that. I don't get a thrill out of converting people to how I play. I'm just telling you why I do what I do. I'm not converting people. Not really interested in that. You could show other people and maybe say, "Hey, that's pretty cool. I think I'll try that." Well, that's on you. Okay. Lots of people like to paint multiple guys at a time. That doesn't really work for me. I get bored. I need smaller goals. I need to paint one guy so I can finish a figure and they'll be like, okay, one more guy is done. I've tried mass producing stuff and it doesn't really work for me. Hey, it's not really a race. When you're working on a hobby, you've got to realize what is your biggest nemesis. And mine is getting bored. So I've got to do everything to avoid that. I don't get discouraged. Things don't turn out how I don't want them to, fortunately. Not in a long time. It hasn't happened in a very long time, which is good because that's extremely frustrating. But if I'm doing a process that takes a long time to show anything for it, I'll just get bored. Jeffrey Benedict, greetings, O wise one. I don't know about all wise, but just because there's a lot of stupid people in the world doesn't make me wise. Oh man, and more each day. It's even worse than that. Now the kids, I don't even understand the freaking lingo that they use, which is strange because I don't really consider myself old. Just turned 50 this year. I don't feel like it. I feel like I'm still 30 years old. But the slang that's been brought about by TikTok stuff, and I don't know what the hell people are saying these days. Let's wipe this stuff down. Big fan of epoxy. Back when I started doing gaming stuff in the 80s, epoxy wasn't worth a damn. It really wasn't. It didn't mix. But now the stuff is good. Stuff goes a long way. All right, I know I'm not going to be able to do all these guys on a stand. So our goal is going to be to get half of them. This works much better than the syringe. The syringe style, where you've got two, and they never come out the same, and you end up having to squeeze it sideways so that you get, oh look, I made a mess. That's why I do it on here. Let's get rid of this before this is a problem later on. And what I've started using to mix epoxy is a needle. Because when I'm done with it, I can just scrape off the needle and it's good to go. If I use a toothpick, I'm going through a lot of toothpicks. And I went through a lot of toothpicks before I realized, why don't I just use a needle? You know. And I know people are really afraid of needles. But it's been, we've taken this thing to the, the file. So it's not sharp. I mean, you don't want to fall on it, but all right. So we got our mixing stuff here. Make sure we got nothing on our hands. All right, and we're gonna go about putting these guys on the stand here. All right, do we have any figures that are the same? Yes, we got two of these guys holding a stick up, and I'm gonna make sure before I do any of this stuff, and I should have done this. See, I'm talking and I'm distracting myself by talking. That's all right, I can mix up more epoxy. I'm supposed to make sure that these guys stand up on their own, because otherwise it's gonna be a problem. See, this guy's not standing up on his own, so for whatever reason, he wants to be incorrigible. Okay, perfect, that's all it took. Is he standing up on his own? No. It doesn't take much. Getting so excited to put these guys on the stand that... Getting so excited about figures that are not exciting. They're really bland bunch of nobodies wearing whatever they sleep in and wear all day long. There we go, okay. All right, so we got two figures that are the same, so we don't want them anywhere near each other. That's this guy, okay? So he's got a stick hanging off to this side, so we're gonna put him, say, over here. Okay, and then we got another guy that's the same figure. So let's put him on the other end of the stand. Like so, okay? Then we got a guy with a sword up. Let's put him towards the front. And we got a guy with a sickle sword. Put him up here as well. All right, now we got 4 other guys to populate this with. We'll put him here. We'll put that guy there, and we need one guy that's a running. So let's adjust where this guy is. And you can put these guys on a 40 by 40 stand. I choose a 40 by 30 because it makes them a little tighter, and it makes them look a little like there's more folks there. All right, let's take a look at everybody and see what they look like. All right, let me put my glasses on so I can see what's going on. Okay, that's one of them done. I'm not even going to try to use this. Well, why epoxy and not super glue? Because I find super glue is too brittle. I'm not even gonna try to use this. It's gonna dry on me halfway through. I'm just gonna mix another batch next to it. So I used to use super glue. I used to use this stuff called Zap-A-Gap. Okay, it was CA plus back in the 90s, and it just came into disfavor because it's just too. It has no flex at all. So if something happens where the figure flexes a little bit, it's just going to pop off the stand. So I don't use super glue for anything. I use epoxy. It has a stronger bond, and it's even more gap filling. And I've just been really happy with it. Lots of people use super glue. I've even known some people use white glue to glue their figures down, but I'm not a fan of white glue. I use white glue for very few things because it can reactivate with any kind of moisture. That's just not working for me. So I I had a, again, I made the same mistake. It's not a mistake, if error, unintentional error. Never said I was good at multitasking. Talking about one thing and doing something else doesn't really, I'm not very good at that. All right, he's kind of standing up. This guy needs to be corrected. This guy actually, no, too old. I was gonna, since he's hard staying on there, I was gonna use some of the older super glue since it was already setting. Let's go ahead and put this guy down so you can start settling. We'll put him up here. All right, stay, good boy. Okay, that guy's good. The other thing is by gluing these guys temporarily on super glue, it actually gives, their base ends up being a little bit bigger. If you can imagine, like, they're on this piece of super glue, and when I pop them off, there's some of the super glue left, making their base larger. So it gives them a bigger area, for a bigger surface area for stuff to stick to them. This is the same pose as that other one, so we want them all the way on this side. Okay, and I think that's the only repeat figures. Okay, we have this Butcher of Babylon figure in the back line. So we'll put him in on the other stand, so we're going to put him in the front line on this stand. Okay. And then we've got, this guy's kind of the leader, so to speak. We'll put him over here. One of the few guys with a helmet. Okay, this guy's in the back corner there, so let's put him here. We're going to put him right in the middle. Mix it up a little bit. But I didn't use epoxy in the 80s. The stuff just wasn't as good, or maybe the stuff I'd picked up had been sitting on a shelf for a long time. It just never seemed to sit right. Set right. Let's adjust this guy like this. So I actually was on a trip 2008, and I took some of my miniatures to a convention. I was coming back, and I got involved in a car accident. So my figures, when they were in the car, and the figures slid off the chair, went all the way into the floorboard. I had them like in a pan at the time, like on a metal pan type of thing, and not a single one of the figures broke off of the stand. That's how well the epoxy works. Well, here's the two stands. That guy's almost too close. Almost too close. Let's push this guy forward. There we go. Let's do a little bit more. There we go. And do they fit okay like this? They do. Okay. So here is the two stands of Hordes, of solid Hordes. Okay, so we need to let these guys sit for a little bit. Maybe 15 minutes, something like that, before we add the goop, as I like to call it. And we're going to go ahead and toss that, so we don't accidentally get some of that stuff in a place where we don't want it. All right, let's get the old goop out. That's not the one. Stuff is in short supply now. I'm not really sure whether it's not being made anymore, like it's been discontinued, or they just don't have the manpower to make it. But there's a shortage of this stuff. I can't find this stuff anymore. So I'm going to have to try getting a replacement that's another brand and see how that one works out. As soon as I can find the one that I have open. You know, I've got a little cart where everything's supposed to be organized, but for whatever reason, things slide down. It's Liquitex resin sand. I used to get this stuff at a place called a craft store called Michael's, and I just decided on a whim to get it because before that I was mixing my white glue and sand, making my own mixture, and this saved me a step of having to do all that. And then Michael stopped carrying it. I ordered it. I picked it up once, used it, liked it so much, went through a bottle, bought my second one at Michael's, and Michael stopped carrying it. Then I had to mail order it from one place. Then that place didn't have it anymore. Had to get it from somewhere else. Then they don't have it anymore. And now no one has it in stock. So I placed an order with someone a couple of months ago for 4 bottles of this stuff. And they showed that they had it in stock, and when in fact they didn't. So I've got about a third of a bottle of this stuff that I'm going to finish this army, and then I'm going to move it off to the side and not use this stuff again. Because if I need to do any more stands for these armies, I want the groundwork to be the same. The colors is easy to, that's not an issue, but I want the groundwork to look consistent. Now, Vallejo also makes these products, and there's a guy that did a review on YouTube that I watched recently where he compares what the equivalent products are between the different ones. And there's one called Gray Pumice from Vallejo that's supposedly close to this. So I'm going to order some of that and then try doing my next army using that product, because I need to look for alternatives before I'm out and I'm up a creek. So yeah. How are we doing here? Where is my gadget? That's why you magnetize stands. You can put something on it and look, they don't fall off. So I can put this scoop on there and don't have to handle the stand and get it all over me, and then possibly transfer it on to something I don't want it to be on. All right, let's get some of this stuff out here. But there's some people I know that base using white glue. I think they're crazy, but whatever works for you. You know, I'm not interested in converting people. Just kind of nice to see what opinions other people have and what stuff smells like stale cigarettes. You know, like a jacket that's been in a bar where everybody's smoking. That's what this stuff smells like. I don't know why. Nobody's smoking around here. All right, this is the second one that we did. This one should be a little drier. This stuff will take at least 6 hours to dry, so it should be good in the morning to start messing with. So what we're going to do is, and we don't want to forget, let me pull my rocks out, because I don't want to forget to put my rocks in and then have to glue them in afterwards. That's not what I want. These are just little rocks that I got from work. They're actual granite. They're sample materials that we never used, and I commandeered these many, many years ago. And I won't even paint these. What I do is I'll dry brush them, because they already have some built-in color, and they'll fit in nicely on the stand. It's granite. This is like the hardest stuff on the whole stand. It's even harder than the figures. Okay, So now that these are out here in my area, it'll remind me to, hey, dumbass, don't forget to, before this stuff dries, to go ahead and put that stuff on there. All right. And unfortunately, this process takes a little longer than I'd like it to, but I think pretty much everything takes longer than I'd like it to. But it's comforting to watch other people do stuff that I really like their work, and they take even longer than I do. So it's like, you know, there's actually nobody's stuff that I've seen that I like better than mine that's quicker than I am. You know, so it's encouraging to know that, you know, these people that are taking just as long as I am. I think the issue is just paint consistently, paint frequently, and, you know, it's going to take as long as it's going to take. Don't jump around and start working on 4 different armies. You know, there's other things I want to do. There's other DBA armies I want to do. I haven't even started messing with them until these guys are complete. Because that's how you don't get things done. That's a recipe for not having anything to show for it. And it gets me discouraged. So it might work for some of you, but it doesn't work for me. All right, let's flip these guys over here. And yeah, I'm going to have to get creative to get in there between them, but I've had worse. You find my basing process fascinating. Yeah, I just kind of came up with it on my own. This is what I was doing before, except I was mixing white glue and sand, like sand literally from work. I work at a concrete type place. So we've got, you know, the amount of sand that I need to use is a very small proportion of the amount that even gets wasted every day. So I was just mixing my own thing. But this stuff actually has, this is water cleanup as well. You know, so if you forget to leave this on your tools, doesn't matter. You can wash it the next morning, and it's non-toxic. I guess you could eat it if you really wanted to, and it has little bits of resin in it to represent the gravel instead of actual silica. And I don't think it has silica in it. I think it's little resin molecules. But for whatever reason, it has a much better defined, it's not as soft when it dries as the white glue and sand was. So it dry brushes better, and it's already pre-mixed, so it's one less thing I got to do. And I like that. The first 7 or 8 armies I did, I did with the sand, and the problem is now it's not really compatible. I would have to rebase the other armies or just leave them alone, which is what I've chosen to do. You know, there he is, Australian Greg. My favorite part of assembling armies, my favorite part is picking what figures I'm going to use for the army. I mean, obviously painting them is, you know, deciding what they are, but the actual painting process, it's just, you know, the novelty of that part is just like gone. It's done it so many times that, you know, I mean, I want to pick the palette and what figures are going to be, but the actual process of it, it's just kind of monotonous. You know, it's just something that's just got to be done. I went to the store a little while ago and actually ran to somebody I hadn't seen in probably 25 years. The guy used to build models and stuff with him, so chit-chatted with him for about 45 minutes. Just hadn't seen him in a long time. All right, now we need to get a brush that we don't care about. Like this one that's seen better days, because we're going to take it and we're going to push some of the stuff we have in here into position. And no matter how many figures are in there, well, unless you're doing a stand of skirmishers where there's only 2 figures on a stand, you pretty much don't need to do this. There's enough maneuver room. We're going to take some of this stuff and we're going to place it there. Now let go. Good boy. All right. And we're going to move this into position. This is difficult. It just takes some patience. Australian Greg. How's tomorrow looking? You know, I think last Monday, we had kind of a little cool morning. It's like, all right, finally, it's going to change. Nope, that was a tease. Well, I mean, it's cooler, but it was in the high 80s today. Ready for it to be cold. Bring on the cold. I'm not ready for leaf season though. There's a huge leaf, a huge oak tree across the street, or several oak trees across the street, and once those leaves start falling, they'll get all over my lawn. And I'm like, that's not even my damn tree. And I usually just mow them down because I don't rake. I had a bad childhood experience raking. Asked me to rake my parents' house one time, and it was 103 leaf bags. We had a huge live oak tree in our backyard. I'm like, I don't rake, man. I got paint. I need to keep my hands in good shape for painting. I don't rake. End up getting blisters, and whether or not you use gloves doesn't matter. And let's take some more of this material. I know some people couldn't do this. They'd be like, man, you're spending too much time on this. Well, you know, I'm saving all my patience to do this. You know, doesn't mean I'm patient in everything else I do on my daily thing. I save all my patience for this. You know, some of you guys are real patient cooking something for 3 hours. I don't do that. All my patience is for this. So anyways, one of the things I wanted to pick up, I wanted to pick up a certain vehicle, a certain die-cast vehicle for my next build for Gaslands, and they just don't have any in any stores. There's no variety. Now, there's one particular store that may have it, but I don't go to that store. That's the big WM. I won't go to that store and buy any of their products. So I'm not going to check and see if they're there, but looks like I'm just going to have to order them on eBay, the thing that I wanted. So it's just strange, man. It's just strange. There's a shortage of, you know, nothing is life-threatening or anything. It's just kind of annoying. It's annoying that, you know, you gotta pay $6 shipping for a $1 item, but that's the world we live in, you know. Land Waster's going ahead in 4 weeks' time, taking Anglo Normans with the command wagon option. Cool. Land Waster. Strange name for that convention. I'm sure there's a story behind it. Is it likely to cancel? for any particular reason, or, you know, it's okay, it's on as of now, but, you know, it could change at any moment. I think it's going to be a while before I go to a show. The last show we had left a really bad taste in my mouth. Really bad taste in my mouth. So, I would much rather just play with my group here and do videos than create all this. We're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to do the other thing, and at the last minute people change their mind, and, you know, you got to do this and you got to do that, and no, now you got to do this, and you know, it's like, just wake me up when we get back to normal. And if we never get back to normal, then, you know, we'll just play here with the folks here. I have a job that has a hell of a lot of fucking changes all the time, and I'm just not going to tolerate that in my hobby. You know, I get paid well to have to deal with all those changes, and it's still almost not even worth it because it's extremely frustrating. I have a saying that I claim to have coined, and it's, you know, just because you don't value my time doesn't mean I don't value my time. You know, don't waste my freaking time. You know, there's a lot of people that just change their mind at the drop of a hat, and it creates a lot of work for other people. And I'm just not going to tolerate that in my hobby. The hobby should be relaxing. If it's creating stress for me, then you're doing it wrong. So I don't know when I'm going to go back to the show. Well, luckily I can wait for a while because there's technically not another one till April, but we'll see. I'm not in a hurry to go to another show with these antics as of late. And besides, you know, you put on a big show and people always come with excuses why they didn't show up. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to do what's good for me. So, as I don't have a group, the only games I get are at tournaments. New South Wales has reached 80% double vaccinated. I don't know. They keep putting new things on there. You know? Keep moving the football. I don't know. Maybe, hopefully they don't do that over there. Really bad taste in my mouth. I was pissed. I was so pissed. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just going to bring back that shit. Oh, man. But we didn't go to the show. We ran our games here in town, and we had a great time. We had such a good time. It's like, you know what? Like, I just saved $250 and didn't have to deal with whatever bullshit they were going to throw on us. Why do I even want to go to a show? I mean, sure, some people I didn't get to play with, but others I got to play in town that wouldn't have gone to the show. So you win some, you lose some. So getting there to the places where we can move all this stuff. And I'm adding a little bit of water to kind of be able to maneuver this stuff a little bit better. That's the only reason. This is a water-based product. You could thin it with water. Not making it a little watery, just easier to maneuver in between here. Okay, man. Enjoy your honeydew list, Greg. Be interested to see what the turnout is at Historicon. When's that? Next month? Something like that. The fact that they moved it to November, that's a deal breaker. I can never go to a show in November. I'm always traveling I'm traveling somewhere in November. That's anniversary month, so that's a not a good time for me to go anyways. Hopefully it doesn't go so well, they'll move Historicon permanently to November. They say they're not going to do that, but everybody's double speaking and double talking about everything, so nothing would surprise me. But it's a lot of money to go to Historicon, and it's a lot of time off. And it's a lot of pain in the ass and a lot of driving. So, if you put a lot of restrictions on what I have to do when I get there, it's kind of like you just kind of have to decide, it's probably not worth it. We're doing it, We're going through a lot of trouble to do it. Nothing says I got to go to it. And now, first it was like, well, I've gone every year since the first time I went. But now that we missed a year because of the COVID thing, and they didn't hold it. Now I'm like, well, I don't care if if I miss it from now on. I don't know. I'd like to go every year, but not that big of a deal. I'm kind of over it. Honestly, working on this stuff on my own time, making videos of our own games is where it's at for me. I do enjoy catching up with people that I only see once a year at the big shows, but who knows if that's going to be possible to do that in the future. So Almost done here. And then we'll put some rocks strategically in place on here. And then we'll let this thing dry. Chris Brantley, welcome. Just done flocking a dozen elements of Teutonics, and you're covered in static grass. Make sure you don't use a shirt that has a lot of synthetic material because you won't blow off of it. Got to use an all cotton shirt. Yeah. If I ever do a crime that involves static grass, I'm screwed. I won't be able to hide the evidence. There's all kinds of static grass in corners of this room. A crime with static grass. What would that even look like? What would that even look like? Let's put a couple rocks. Happy little rocks growing over here. Let's put one here in no man's land in between all of them. That should suffice for that one. Of course, we're going to put tufts in there as well. This army doesn't have any static grass. This is tufts only. So, all right, back to the big stuff here. All right. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Joe. Getting there. Getting there. I don't know when I'm going to get this army done, but I promise I'm not going to start another army until these are complete. That just doesn't benefit anybody. You know, I've still got 3 camels to do, a light chariot to finish up. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm feeling a little bit better now than I did this morning. Moral of the story, don't eat too many oranges, folks. Oh, man. Don't eat too many oranges. Had so many oranges, I shouldn't be able to be sick for like 10 years. I had like 30. I don't actually know exactly how many it was. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 of them in like 5 days. And had too much acid buildup in the stomach, and I haven't been able to get rid of it. And it's just really weird. It's only in the stomach. It's no acid reflux. It's nothing intestinal. It's just, you know. Well, it kept me from drinking black coffee. I haven't had black coffee in 2 weeks, and I don't think I'm going to go back on it. I was tired of the taste of it anyways, you know. Anthony Holton, welcome. Love your Amorites. They inspired me to do a Canaanite Syrian army. There you go. That's what we're here for, inspire each other. I see stuff on there, and get inspired. Yeah. Canaanite Syrians. Yeah, this is a similar looking army. Those guys are cool. You can make these uninspiring figures that have been around forever. I mean, these Essex castings have been around, I don't know, 40 years? At least 30 years. And they're kind of generic looking. And, you know, you look at them online like, they're not going to look that good. But then you start mixing them up and making them look bland, but also interesting at the same time. And they just work. I get a thrill out of painting these figures that don't paint themselves, you know? Yeah, it's a cool army that I didn't think very many people had it, but as soon as I start working on it, I'm like, you know, here's my picture of the Amorites. I'm, damn it, I didn't know anybody who had this army. That's why I made them, you know? Damn it! It's all good. So I was looking for a vehicle. A die-cast vehicle, but all the stores seem to be out of die-cast vehicles. There just isn't the, you know, I guess supply issues or whatever. Like I said, Walmart may have them, but I'm not going to go to that store. They're on I'm not going in on their list. I mean, if I'm broke down in the middle of the desert and I got to walk in the store, but if I got other options, I'll give somebody else my business. So that's the new normal. You can get just about any vehicle you want on eBay, but you know the minimum shipping on anything is like $6. So now you're talking about paying like $7 for one vehicle. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to do it. You know. Yeah. I need a particular type of vehicle. It's an ambulance, by the way. I need an ambulance. And I want a certain kind of ambulance. And they didn't have any kind at all in any of the stores. Oh well. It's not like I needed to work on it today. Am I ordering Essex from the UK direct now? I haven't had to, but I guess I'll have to. C&B made it real easy, and then you know they stopped doing mail order. I suspect that it's a couple different issues. I suspect it was. I mean, I don't want to go to the post office. It's a pain in the ass to go to the post office. So I don't blame them for not doing mail order. You know, I used to until the price of shipping got stupid in the last year or so. I used to order everything from the original manufacturer. I don't care if it was across the pond. The service was Essex actually ships very fast. Essex and Museum ship very, very fast. So I have no problem ordering directly from Essex. The problem is that, you know, you've got these shipping costs that, you know, if I need like 4 packs of something, you know, the shipping just gets stupid. But so I guess if I need it, I'll still order it, but you know, I don't think the shipping's ever going to go down. This is just the new stupid normal. But luckily it's not something we have to have, so we'll just deal with it. You know, they said that they were still going to sell at shows. So it's not that they want to go out of business. They just probably don't want to mail order 2 packs here, 3 packs here. I don't blame them. I'm not selling stuff on eBay ever. I'm not going to go to the post office. It's hours in the post office are just not conducive with my work schedule, and I don't want to have to mail order something. The only time I can mail order something is at mail something out is during my lunch hour, and that's just unacceptable. That's holy hour. I don't do anything even remotely work related during that time if I can avoid it. So I'll just give something away before I sell it on eBay. But anyhow, these guys should be ready to base, paint the basing in the morning. Hopefully. We'll leave the fan running in here. It should dry up pretty quick. Stuff has a consistency of like grits. Who's sending me shit right now? You need to leave me alone. I'm busy. Make sure I don't have any. No. Okay. Good. Had no girls in the house all day long. So. It seemed like a really long weekend. That's a good thing. I'm going to have to order some of that Vallejo gray pumice and see how that works out, how close of a match it is. They just got to be close, you know. I just don't want to use a different material in the same army. But if it's close, I won't even be noticeable if you use it on a different army. Because I'm still going to paint the basing the same colors, so. Funny I should say grits. I like grits. I rarely eat them, but I like them. I wonder how well PVA and cornmeal would work as a basing material. It probably would work, unless the cornmeal expands too much, it gets too big. I rarely eat them, but I like them. You guys have those in Maryland? You guys are over there on the... Well, Virginia claims that they're part of the South, but I don't think so. You go to Virginia for breakfast and they have pancake this and pancake that and pancake the other thing and pancake that. No, that's... We got grits down here. Traditional breakfast. My dad used to love grits. And he's not even from this country. My wife can't stand them. My daughter and I like them. But I rarely eat them. You've used coffee grounds and tea from tea bags. Really? Well, you're a pro then. You're a pro at all those things that I would think coffee grounds would just be a mess to work with them staining everything. Man, I don't miss having coffee. I really don't. I was really tired of the taste. And of course, I was just drinking coffee black, because otherwise you're just adding calories. You're making it too yummy to drink. I have to drink it cold because I can't stand drinking anything hot. Right now my hands are hot. And the house is at, whatever we keep it at, 72. I'd love the house to be colder, but, you can't freeze the thing out there. Fan running. I'm always hot all the time. So, hot coffee for me, yeah, never. No. I just got tired of it. And now with this too much acid in my stomach, the coffee's supposedly bad for that. So I've been like over 2 weeks without coffee. So I don't want to go back to it. Painting on a Saturday night as well. I'm impressed. Grits and brown sugar is a breakfast staple for us on the weekends. Wow. So you like your grits sweet, huh? Interesting. Interesting take on it. Well, everybody likes their particular breakfast foods. The breakfast foods that they have across the pond are a different level completely. Not used to that stuff. I'm a big fan of bacon, but I don't like my bacon overcooked, where it just falls apart. Soft bacon. Or no bacon at all. It's not like I have to have it. It's not like I have it every day. I'm just talking about if you're going out and you're having breakfast somewhere. Yeah, I want that traditional stuff. Wow, so you need to go to work and work on a garden. But I can just say the Hordes look great. Well, you'll get to see them tomorrow morning. Hopefully we'll get them finished tomorrow morning. Need to go and work on the garden. People either have a love or hate relationship with gardening. I I'm not a lover of gardening. Let's put it that way. I do yard work because I have to, and I don't want to pay somebody else to do it because, you know, when we used to mow a lawn, I used to get $5, and now these people want $70. Well, screw you. That's like paying yourself $35 an hour to do it yourself. I'll just do it. You know, I'm not going to pay somebody that kind of money. I didn't make that money when I was a kid. You don't get it now, damn it. But gardening, yeah. That's not something I don't think I would enjoy. Mainly because it's just hot. I work in a hot environment. I want to get out of that hot environment any chance I get. Not my thing, but there's lots of people that enjoy that. I enjoy eating all the vegetables and stuff. I mean, I love all my vegetables. I'm not one of those people that doesn't eat things that are green. No problem with that stuff. I don't think there's a green vegetable I dislike, honestly. Are rutabagas green? I don't even have those damn things here. That's Mitch's Yankee turnip. You hate it, but it needs to be done. Yeah. Honeydew requirement. Uh-oh. Yeah. I know. Sometimes you got to do stuff. Some honeydews are worse than others. I don't mind doing laundry. You know, I lived alone for 11 years, so, you know, you have to do your own stuff. You know, you got to do your own laundry. It's not a big deal. See, you want to wear clean clothes, you do your laundry, you know. What's this? Why am I getting notifications of people I'm subscribed to while I'm online? I need to turn that shit off. Like, I'm not going to watch this. There's this guy I subscribed to recently. It's not a hobby guy. He's actually a car guy. He does like car show. He's really interesting. But he has all these clickbait titles, and he pisses me off with all the clickbait. Because you're like, oh, you'll watch it. And it's like, oh, it's going to be about this one. Like, you know, he'll do like these posts like, oh, Ford really did it now. They're going out of business. So like, okay, well, that's kind of an interesting video to watch. And then you watch it, and there's nothing to do with that. I'm like, you freaking liar. You freaking politician. Clickbait video title. Come on, man. I should just unsubscribe from them. Be like if I did a video, hey, Amorite painting, and I never ended up painting Amorites. Why don't you just call it something else, dude? Almost done with these guys. And then we can let these guys just settle. Six folks. I'm surprised that this many people on. Hopefully I feel like this in the morning, and I'll be all right. This morning I was not feeling great, but I powered through it. I got done what I needed to do, luckily, with you guys' help. Interaction. But that's the reason I haven't been painting. I'm just uncomfortable in this position. I think it's just I'm bent over slightly enough that's putting some pressure on my belly, and it's not comfortable. And you know, I don't have a time thing where I got to get these guys done by a certain time, you know. We don't need The relaxation does not need to have stress-induced time frames, timelines. Got to get these done by a certain time. Yeah. All right, let's put some of these rocks down here. Let's rinse this. I made the mistake of just leaving these in the water one time, and then I got all this rust on there. Oh, I guess they're not stainless after all. All right, these are the rocks that have been chosen. All right, let's put a big one there, hanging out with a little one. And then we got one over here. That I finished this off perfectly. We can always put a bush there to cover up any mess ups that we did, things that don't turn out as you would have liked in the morning. You can always adjust them. Okay, so here's what the two stands look like. Of course, you can't really get the whole feel until they're done, but jeez, encroaching on myself. We'll let these guys dry, and then we'll see them in the morning. So we're going to call it a night for that. How long did this take? An hour and 17 minutes? An hour and 17 minutes just to put the goop and stuff on that. So, well, anyhow, we'll catch you guys again in the morning. I should be on by 6 a.m. unless something weird happens. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you in a few hours. Okay? Have a good night, folks. Bye-bye.